Hello, welcome to Daily Records, and today I'm going to spotlight an album that has a lot of mixed feelings from people that have heard it. It has fans. A lot of people consider it to be the greatest album ever made, and other people absolutely hate this album. And without further ado, I'll go ahead and tell you it's Neutral Milk Hotel's In the Aeroplane Over the Sea. This was released in February of 1998. It was recorded during the late summer of 1997. And one of the interesting things was recorded at a studio called Pet Sound Studios in Denver, Colorado. Now, this album was an album that was recorded by Robert Schneider. And most of you know Robert Schneider as the brains and writer behind bands like Apples and Stereo. He was also one of the founders of something called the Elephant Six Collective. But the album is primarily the work of songwriter Jeff Mangum from Athens, Georgia. He went to Denver to work on the album with Robert, and went and recorded it. And this is just it's very much considered one of the great albums of the 90s. And funny enough, this album played a large part in the vinyl revival. It was one of the best-selling vinyl records of the late 2000s. And so anyway, so Jeff Mangum, I believe, is from Louisiana. And he went to, he joined up with Robert Schneider to form the Elephant Six Collective in Athens. And there were several bands, I think of Montreal was one of them. There were several bands in that Elephant Six Collective. But Jeff Mangum, I believe this is their second album and last album, funny enough. But he became really obsessed with Anne Frank and the Diary of Anne Frank. And so when he recorded their first album, On Avery Island, he had read The Diary of a Young Girl, which is Anne Frank's diary, and a lot of people read it. And so it really kind of drove a lot of his thoughts and feelings. Now, the album really covers a lot of things. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, you would say it's an indie rock album. And that's true, very folksy, but there is a lot of things, interesting instrumentation, particularly like the trumpet, and there's a saw played on one song really beautifully. But there are lyrics that are interesting too, like the song Ghost has, Ghost, Ghost, I know you live within me. And so it's a weird thing lyrically. There's a lot of obscure sort of abstract lyrics on there, and they're just it's just a strange, unnerving recording altogether. Now, like I said, there's a lot of people that hear it and they can't get past Jeff Mangum's voice, which a lot of times is less singing and more just straight up shouting, which is part of the power of the album. Now, when it was released, it really wasn't heard from a lot because it was on the Merge label. And kind of a small, just kind of nothing to it, kind of under the radar kind of release. But what happened as the years grew, the album sort of grew in stature, and more people, word of mouth, started discussing the album, and it just kind of grew more of a following as the years went on. And so the more people heard it, the more people told other people about it. And it just became, this strange album that just kept going and going and going. And it still goes to this day. Now, here's the thing. He toured behind the album, Jeff Mangum. But then he just basically disappeared. He retired. And I think he was really kind of sick of probing people asking about what the lyrics meant and just stuff like that. And so instead, he just kind of walked away from the music business. Now, Neutral Milk Hotel got back together the last few years and have toured and made a lot of fans happy that enjoyed this music. The interesting thing at the end of this album, there's a reprise of the song Two-Headed Boy on the album. And you can hear Mangum set his guitar down and walk away at the closing of the record. That's very much kind of the way he has treated the music business. And I mean, he's interested in art and other things like that. I mean, Mangum's one of those figures that really doesn't play the pop game very well. But he did create this incredibly beautiful album. and it's grown quite a bit of a following. Now, Jeff Mangum's the main guy, but it also features Jeremy Barnes on drums, Julian Coster, who plays all kinds of fun stuff. He's kind of the Brian Jones of the group. The Saw, he plays a banjo, accordion, different things. And another guy in the band that's a large contributor is Scott Spillane, who plays all the brass instruments, and he did all the horn arrangements, which are very predominant on this album. So this is one of those that it's a listening experience, and it is very much a love it or hate it kind of thing. And so for every person that you find that ranks this as one of the great albums, there's another group of people that absolutely hate it and can't get through it. But either way, an album like that, as polarizing as that, definitely deserves a listen. So like, subscribe, comment, and share down below. And follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. And thanks for watching.